let we see fats unit in the nutrition subject. Content which is covering in the fats unit are classification, caloric value, recommended daily allowances, dietary source, functions, digestion, absorption and storage, metabolism of fats and oil, malnutrition, under the malnutrition, deficiency and overconsumption. Fats and oils are the components that are soluble in organic solvents and insoluble in water. Insoluble is nothing but which will not dissolve in the water. Fats occur in the plants and animals. Fats are composed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. The fats are made up of glycerol and fatty acid. Each glycerol is attached to the 3 fatty acids. The word fat is also called as lipids. The word lipid is derived from the Greek word called as lipos, which means fats. So only fats is also called as lipids. Lipids are a group of naturally occurring molecules that includes fats and oils, waxes, cholesterol, etc. The flavor and hardness of fats depends on the bond and the amount of fatty acid which is present in it. Next, moving on to the classification of fats and oils. The fats are broadly classified into simple lipids, compound lipids, derived lipids and sterol. Again, the simple lipids are classified into fats and oil, waxes. Now we will see what do you mean by fats and oil and waxes. Fats and oils. Fats and oils are the esters of free fatty acid and glycerol. The fats and oils are the esters of fatty acid and glycerol. Fats and oils are same. The only difference is in physical appearance. Fats are solid at room temperature and oils are liquid at room temperature. Waxes. Waxes are the esters of fatty acid with alcohol other than the glycerol. So, cetyl alcohol is the most commonly used waxes and the best example for the waxes is candle. Based upon the number of fatty acids, the simple lipids are classified as monoglyceride, diglyceride, triglyceride. Here you can observe that mono is nothing but single. So, single glycerides will be there. These are the lipids which are composed of one molecule of glycerol and fatty acid. That is called as monoglycerides. And diglyceride. Di is nothing but 2. So, these are the lipids which are composed of one molecule of glycerol and 2 molecule of fatty acid. That is called as diglycerides. Next, moving on to the triglycerides. Triglycerides. Tri is nothing but 3. So, 3 molecules of fatty acid combined with the glycerol to form a triglycerides. Next, moving on to the second classification of fats and oil, that is compound or complex lipid. See here, these are the esters of fatty acid with alcohol and other additional group. That is called as compound lipid. See, esters of fatty acid along with alcohol and other additional group. Organic compounds are there means that we will call it as a compound or a complex lipid. The additional organic compounds are phosphate, nitrogenous base, carbohydrates, proteins, etc. Based on the presence of this additional carbonic compound, again we will divide it into phospholipids, glycolipids, lipoprotein. Based upon the additional compounds, complex lipids are further divided into phospholipid, glycolipid, lipoprotein. Phospholipids. Phospholipids are the esters of fatty acid with alcohol and additional group phosphoric acid, and nitrogenous base. PASPO. PASPO is nothing but phosphoric acid. So here we can observe that esters of fatty acid will be there along with the alcohol and phosphoric acid will be there. So only we will call it as a phospholipid. Again, based upon the presence of alcohol, phospholipid is divided into glycerol phospholipid, sphingophospholipid. Glycerol phospholipid contains a glycerol as a alcohol. Sphingophospholipid contains a sphingosine as a alcohol. Next, moving on to the glycolipid. What do you mean by glyco? Glyco is nothing but carbohydrates. So here in the glycolipid, esters of fatty acid and alcohol along with that carbohydrate as an additional group will be there, that is called as glycolipids. Next here lipoprotein. Lipoprotein. Lipid along with that protein as an additional group, that is called as a lipoprotein. Lipoproteins are the esters of fatty acid and alcohol with the protein as an additional group. Again, these are two types, high density lipoprotein and low density lipoprotein. Based upon the density of the lipoprotein, this is divided into high density and low density. Next, moving on to the derived lipids. These are the derivatives of hydrolysis of simple and complex lipid. See here, the simple lipids will be there and complex lipids will be there. So when these simple and complex lipids are hydrolyzed means breaking down. When we breaks down the simple and complex lipid, we will get derived lipids which possess the characteristics of lipids. This includes fatty acid, alcohol, fat soluble vitamins and steroids, etc. Next, fatty acids. Fatty acids are carboxylic acid with a hydrocarbon side chain. Fatty acids are carboxylic acids with the hydrocarbon side chain. Fatty acids are obtained from the hydrolysis of fats and oil. When we breaks down the fats and oil, we will get a fatty acid. Based upon the carbon chain and the presence of double bond, again the fatty acids are divided into saturated fatty acid and unsaturated fatty acid. As we seen first itself, fatty acid is a carboxylic acid with a hydrocarbon side chain. So here carboxylic acid will be there, along with that hydrocarbon side chain will be there. So based upon the presence of a bond between the hydrogen and carbon, again the fatty acid is divided into two, saturated and unsaturated fatty acid. You will see now. Saturated fatty acid. Saturated fatty acids have only a single bond between the carbon and do not have a double bond on it. So when there is only a single bond, that is called as saturated fatty acid. Examples if you are seeing is all the animal fats having a saturated fatty acid. These fatty acids increases our cholesterol level in the blood. Next, unsaturated fatty acid. Here, saturated fatty acid contains only a single bond, but unsaturated fatty acids contains a double bonds. That is, more than one or more double bonds will be there. So, we will call it as a unsaturated fatty acid. Again, based upon the presence of double bonds, again further divided into monounsaturated, polyunsaturated. Mono means single. Mono is nothing but single or one. So here only one double bond will be there, that is called as monounsaturated fatty acid. Example, olive oil, peanut oil, etc. Next, polyunsaturated fatty acid contains a poly is nothing but more than a one. Two or more than a two double bonds will be there, that is called as a polyunsaturated fatty acid. Example, linoleic acid, linolenic acid. This will be found in sunflower oil or soybean oil, etc. Other classification of fatty acid based upon the requirement to our body. Based upon the requirement to our body, again there will be a further division, that is essential fatty acid, non-essential fatty acid. This is very important. See here, essential fatty acids. the fatty acids which are essential to our body, means it is very important to our body because it is not synthesizing by our body. So we need to take out from the diet. That is called as essential fatty acid. Example, linoleic acid, linolenic acid, etc. Non-essential fatty acids are those which are synthesized by our body itself. No need to take from the outside. Example, palmitic acid and oleic acid. Next, moving on to the sterols. These are made up of fatty acid and glycerol but have a benzoin ring structure. Cholesterol, fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E, K is the example for sterols. Steroids, we'll call it as steroids also. Cholesterol occurs in animal tissue, especially brain, nervous system, liver and blood. Next, moving on to the caloric value of the fats. 1 gram of fats will give the 9 kilocalories of energy. If we take a 1 gram of fat, it will provide 9 kilocalories of energy to our body. Next, moving on to the recommended daily allowances, RDA. Recommended daily allowances is nothing but how much amount of fats and oils are required to our body per day. Here you can see the according to the age group, I have mentioned the RDA for different age group. Children need 25 grams per day. Per day, children need 25 grams of fats and oil. Adult men and adult women needs 20 grams of fats per day. And pregnant women needs 30 grams per day. Lactating women needs 45 grams per day. Next, moving on to the dietary sources. Here you can observe there are two dietary sources, animal source and plant source. In the animal source, meat, fish, poultry, milk and milk products, etc. You can see the picture. And in the plant source, all the types of oils like coconut oil, sunflower oil, olive oil, peanut oil, sesame oil, etc. These are the sources of fats and oil. Next, moving on to the functions of fats and oils. The first function, fats will provide energy to our body. When the carbohydrates are not available, the fats will provide energy to the body. Fat, which is present in the subcutaneous layer of the skin, acts as a insulator and maintains our body temperature. Fats are needed for the absorption of certain vitamins like A, D, E, K. These vitamins will be absorbed in the presence of fats only. Next, fat which is stored around the vital organs will provide a protection to the vital organs. Fats increases the taste to the food. Fats also helps in maintaining the healthy skin and hairs. So far, we have seen about the definition of fats, classification of fats, caloric value, recommended daily allowances, sources, functions of fats and oils. In the next video, we will continue the remaining topic of fats and oil. Thank you.